Today, I want to start the class with talking about 3 things you have to know for self-defense. And I'm going to keep it very simple, right? But there are so many people that have like these long lists. They talk about self-defense, reality-based self-defense, all these different scenarios and society and violence and all this kind of stuff. So let's just bring it into 3 things I want you guys to focus on today, okay? First one, you guys already got covered. You guys are already here. The number one thing you have to know about self-defense is the way is in training. If you're not training, you're not training. There are so many people watching YouTube that actually don't train. They just watch a bunch of videos, they buy a bunch of books, they might hit the bags once a month, but they don't train. If you are not training, you're not training. And now training is all-encompassing. Training means conditioning your body to withstand anxiety, stress, fear, that type of thing. So you got to do strength training, cardiovascular training. Training is training. You got to do the self-defense training, the martial arts training. You got to learn how to punch, you got to learn how to kick, you got to learn how to use whatever weapons you're going to use. If you use weapons, if you carry weapons, you need to train with those weapons. Don't just go get the thing and carry it around, right? You want to make sure that you're training with whatever you have. So number 1, the way is in training. If you're not training, you're not training. And the chances of being able to be victorious in a situation when you're not training is slim, right? Show of hands real quick. How many of you guys played sports in high school? There's a lot of people that played sports in high school. Right? There's a lot and they played sports and they know how to play the sports, whether it's basketball or baseball or football or whatever it is, right? They played sports. And then they get out of high school and it's 20 years later. And they think they can still play a damn sport. And they go out there and give it a go and they hurt themselves because they're not in the same condition that they were in high school. Right? It's the same thing. It's not like you lose the knowledge. Some people lose the knowledge. But you don't just lose that. You just can't do that. Right? So number 1, when it comes to self, we're talking about 3 things of self-defense. Number 1 is the way is in training. You need to train. Condition your body, develop the skills to punch, kick, block, and move, understand the weapons you're going to carry, and how to use them properly. Number 2, the second thing is awareness, situational awareness, right? And one big key to that is blending in. People like to use the word gray man theory in the modern day, right? Because it's just blending in with the crowd and all this kind of stuff. Traditional ninjutsu, we call it kage no kamae, right? Blending into your surroundings and stuff like that. The reality of it is predators like to attack prey. So if you look like you're weak, if you look like you have something, if you look like you're the prey, you're going to be the prey, right? So walking around with gold chains and gold and diamonds and all this kind of stuff, and in an area where most people can't afford food, you're gonna get jumped. I mean, we gotta be real here, you know? You got a bunch of people walking around that's starving and you look like you're not. You got something they need, right? So number 2 is awareness. You need to be aware of your environment. Dress appropriately. Don't dress like prey. Wherever you're going, dress appropriate for that environment. And also make sure that you put yourself in a position where you're not going to be prey. You're not going to be the one attacked. All right? That's part of awareness, situational awareness. Where are you? How do you get there? How do you get out of there? Number 3, always have an exit strategy. Always. Don't go somewhere and not know how to get the hell out of there. How many people go to like bars or clubs, or they go to like football games or all that kind of stuff, and then they're just like, well, how do we get out of here super fast? They all funnel in like fish in a stream, but they don't know how to get out of there when something hits the fan. You have to have an exit strategy. No matter where you go, have an exit strategy, always. And that can change when you use situational awareness and you acquire more information, you process the information, but you have to always have an exit strategy. You do not score points fighting in a self-defense situation, right? We've already talked about multiple times the difference between the fighting arts and the warrior arts. That isn't for this video. The reality of it is, the goal is to get the hell out of that situation and get back home. Get back to your family. Beating someone up does not change the end result. The end result, if you get jumped right now, you go out to do your thing and you get jumped, right? The end result is to get home safely. The end result isn't to kick someone's ass, right? The end result is to get home safely. So the individual that's in the way for you to complete that objective, getting home safely, you don't score points by doing fancy moves and fancy techniques, right? That is it. So people always get this idea that, oh, someone attacks you, you got to do this. No, always have an exit strategy. Evasion skills. Ninjutsu, right? Traditional ninjutsu, they were spies. They went to go get information, and when they had to get back, the goal was to get the information back. So that's why there's so much Tanjutsu technique or evasion technique in traditional ninjutsu. Throw the powders in their eyes, run away. Throw dirt in their eyes, run away. There's all this kind of stuff because their goal was to get the information back, right? In self-defense, there's a similarity with that. The goal is to get back home. Not to sit there and duke it out with someone that obviously sees you as prey. If you guys really think you're going to be jumped by someone that's the same size as you, same weight class as you, it's not going to happen. It's just simply not. So let's go through those three one more time. The way is in training. That's conditioning, right? Strength training, cardiovascular training, learning how to use your hands and feet for weapons, body movement skills, learning how to carry certain types of weapons, whether it's edged weapons, whatever, firearms, etc. Got to be good with the use of weapons if you're going to carry them. If you're not training, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're just rolling the dice. Because even if you go into a situation you know never train, and you're like, oh, I'm going to use situational awareness. Okay, fine. What happens when you get jumped in? You're not training. This doesn't matter. So number one, way of training. Number two, situational awareness. Be aware of your environment. Blend in. Don't stick out. Don't look like prey. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to get attacked. Right? And number three, always have an exit strategy. Always have an exit strategy. You got to be able to get out of there. Always. Don't put yourself in a position, sit in a certain area to not be able to get out. You have to do those three. Right? You do those three. If you can complete those three, if you can train consistently, and that's the important part, train consistently, not once or twice a week. You're training consistently. You understand awareness skills and you're constantly working on them, and you always have an exit strategy, you can be successful in self-defense.